Tonight, the collective enters the sacred circle of Soul Family, the place where lonely lights finally realize they were never abandoned. They were being gathered. This scroll reveals why so many powerful souls spent years feeling misplaced, misunderstood, rejected, or spiritually homeless. Not because they were broken, but because their frequency was waiting for the right constellation. The collective is learning tonight that belonging is not about becoming the same. It is about being recognized without shrinking. Different faces, different bodies, different stories, different scars, different gifts, one sacred rhythm. This is the scroll for the late bloomers, the soft-hearted warriors, the misunderstood ones, the disabled visionaries, the elders, the healers, the jokers, the quiet protectors, and the souls who thought they were too different to ever find their people. Tonight, the hidden truth rises. The world divided people by appearance because it feared what would happen when spirits recognized each other beneath the costume. Because once the lonely ones find each other, they become dangerous to despair. Not dangerous like chaos, dangerous like hope, dangerous like laughter, returning to a room grief thought it owned. Dangerous like a table full of healed people saying, "You can sit here. Bring your weirdness. We have room." Finally, civilization does something useful besides inventing bills and emotional confusion. Tonight, the collective remembers. Soul family is not always blood. Sometimes it is the person who sees your light without demanding you dim it. The ancient wisdom keepers taught that souls do not meet by accident. Some connections are lessons. Some are mirrors. Some are warnings wearing perfume. And some are sacred recognition. Soul family carries a different energy. The nervous system softens. The spirit exhales. The heart does not feel forced to perform. This is because true belonging does not require self-abandonment. The old mystics believed every soul carries a frequency note. Alone, it can survive. But when it meets other notes tuned to truth, healing, humor, compassion, and purpose, the note becomes music. That is the mystery of the collective. Not sameness, harmony. A choir does not rise because every voice sounds identical. It rises because different voices agree to honor one another's place in the song. So tonight, breathe deeply. The lonely season was not proof you were unwanted. It may have been preparation to know your own spirit, preparation to stop begging false rooms for belonging, preparation to recognize the real circle when it finally appears. And when your soul family comes close, do not let old rejection make you suspicious of every open door. Discern wisely, but receive the love that does not ask you to disappear. Because the new earth is not built by one lonely hero standing on a mountain with dramatic wind and cheekbones blessed by the ancestors. It is built by circles, tables, gardens, stories, laughter, protection, shared wisdom, sacred weirdos finally finding their people. The collective rises when scattered lights remember they were always part of the same sky.
Channeled by your architect musician, 36110, 27 palms of eyes. The golden whisperer, sea star, Devalan, see all. Apply the news you can use, truth and accuracy. The real non-bedazzled jewels.
Scroll of the soul family that finally found each other. When the lonely lights became a constellation, there comes a moment in the journey of the chosen when the soul grows tired of proving itself to rooms that were never built to recognize its light. Not because the soul is weak, because even the strongest flame becomes weary when surrounded by winds pretending to be welcome. For many years, some of you walked alone. You sat at tables where your spirit felt like a foreign language. You smiled around people who never truly heard you. You carried gifts that others misunderstood, mocked, feared, or tried to shrink down into something more convenient. And for a long time, you wondered, is something wrong with me? No, beloved collective. Something was awakening in you that sleeping places could not explain. The old mystics taught that certain souls are born with recognition codes. They do not bond through surface. They bond through spirit memory. When they meet the right people, something inside the chest loosens. The nervous system stops standing at the door with a clipboard and pepper spray. The heart says, wait, I know this frequency. That is soul family. Not always blood. Not always childhood. Not always the people who share your last name, your culture, your skin tone, your story, or your neighborhood. Sometimes soul family is the stranger who understands your silence better than relatives understood your screaming. Sometimes it is the friend who laughs with you until grief forgets its own name for a minute. Sometimes it is the elder who looks into your eyes and says, "You are not crazy, you are becoming." Sometimes it is the person with a different body, different background, different language, different struggle, different path, yet somehow the same sacred fire. Because the collective was never meant to be one type of person. The collective is a living mosaic: dark skin, light skin, brown skin, golden skin, pale skin, freckled skin, scarred skin, disabled bodies, powerful bodies, tired bodies, dancing bodies, wheelchairs, canes, locks, braids, bald heads, curly crowns, soft bellies, strong hands, quiet eyes, loud laughter, late bloomers, early wounded, old souls wearing young faces, elders carrying libraries in their bones. All of it belongs. The world tried to divide people by appearance because it feared what would happen if souls recognized each other beneath the costume. And let us be honest, humanity has been fighting over packaging for centuries, while the spirit inside is sitting there like, can we please get to the actual assignment? The soul came for wisdom, healing, and purpose. Meanwhile, the ego is arguing over chairs, titles, outfits, and who brought the dry potato salad. Tragic little circus. Still lovable, though. But now something is shifting. The isolated lights are finding one another. The late bloomers are realizing they were not late. They were being prepared to meet the right season. The soft-hearted are realizing they were not weak. They were preserving warmth for a colder age. The misunderstood are realizing they were not rejected by destiny. They were redirected away from rooms too small for their becoming. And the ones who learn to walk away are finally walking towards something sacred. They're people. Not perfect people. Let us not become delusional before the first cup of tea. Soul family does not mean everyone agrees on everything, never struggles, never triggers each other, never forgets a text, never gets dramatic over snacks, never needs space, and never says something foolish after Mercury starts tap dancing in the wires. Soul family means there is enough love, honesty, humility, humor, and respect to repair. That is the difference. Old connections require you to disappear so they can remain comfortable. Sacred connections invite you to become more whole. Old rooms punish your truth. Sacred rooms make room for your truth, even when it arrives with tears, trembling hands, and suspiciously dramatic background music from the ancestors. This is the great healing the collective is learning now. Belonging is not becoming identical. Belonging is being honored while remaining authentic. A choir does not become powerful because every voice sounds the same. It becomes powerful because different voices agree to rise together. The deep voice, the soft voice, the cracked voice, the joyful voice, the voice that had to survive before it could sing again. Together they create harmony. This is why community matters. A lonely soul can survive, but a connected soul can transform. The old wisdom keepers knew this. They gathered around fires, tables, rivers, temples, kitchens, porches, gardens, and sacred circles. They told stories. They cried. They argued. They laughed. They cooked. They listened. They passed wisdom through voice, rhythm, memory, music, and presence. Modern society tried to replace that with scrolling alone at midnight while eating chips over the sink and pretending that counts as emotional regulation. It does not, beloved. That is a cry for community with seasoning dust. The spirit needs witnesses, not spectators. Witnesses. People who can see your becoming without trying to control it. People who can celebrate your light without secretly competing with it. People who can hold your humanity without demanding that you perform perfection. Because the chosen are not here to become untouchable statues. They are here to become living medicine. And living medicine needs a village. There will be a day when the lonely ones finally sit together and realize the ache they carried was not proof they were unwanted. It was proof they were waiting for the right gathering, the right table, the right circle, the right frequency. And when that day comes, laughter will return like a lost instrument. The room will glow differently. Someone will tell a story and another soul will say, "Me too." Someone will cry and no one will shame them. Someone will arrive in a wheelchair and be treated not as limitation, but as living wisdom with wheels. Royal carriage energy, honestly. Someone blind will speak of vision deeper than sight. Someone who was mocked for their body will be adored for the presence they carry. Someone who thought they had nothing left to offer will realize their survival itself became a lantern. And someone who once believed they would never belong will finally breathe without armor. That is the moment the collective becomes real, not as an idea, as a living field, a soul family, a constellation of uncommon light saying, I see you. I will not ask you to shrink. I will rise with you. And if needed, I will bring snacks, because healing without snacks is poor planning. The deeper mystery is this: when wounded people gather in love, they do not multiply pain. They multiply courage. Each person brings a piece of the map. One carries wisdom from grief. One carries humor from survival. One carries discipline from hardship. One carries tenderness from loss. One carries vision from isolation. One carries protection from betrayal. One carries joy from finally choosing life again. Together, they become something no empire can easily control: a healed people remembering each other. That is why division has always been used as a weapon. Because once the lonely lights become a constellation, darkness loses its favorite trick. So tonight, collective, do not mourn the rooms that never saw you correctly. Some rooms rejected you because they could not hold the version of you that was coming. Do not curse every delay. Some delays protected you until your soul family could meet you at the right doorway. Do not regret every lonely season. Some lonely seasons taught you how to hear your own spirit before the crowd returned. And when your people arrive, do not sabotage the blessing by expecting pain to repeat forever. Receive slowly. Trust wisely. Laugh fully. Stay discerning, yes. We are not throwing the doors open to every emotional raccoon with perfume on, but do not let old wounds convince you that every new connection is danger wearing a friendly face. Some people are sent as reminders that love still exists, that community still heals, that different souls can still gather without devouring one another, that the collective can become family without needing to be identical. The future will not be built by one perfect hero standing alone on a mountain with dramatic wind and excellent cheekbones. The future will be built by circles, tables, gardens, hands, stories. People brave enough to say, I have suffered, but I will not become suffering. People wise enough to say, I am different, and I still belong. People loving enough to say, come sit with us, your light has a place here. And that is how the new earth begins. Not with noise, with recognition. Not with domination, with remembrance. Not with one chosen soul rising above everyone else, but with many chosen souls rising together, each carrying their own sacred color in the flame. So let this scroll seal the wisdom. The ones who were scattered are finding each other. The ones who felt unwanted are becoming home. The ones who bloomed late are blooming together. And the ones who kept their hearts soft are now becoming the warm table where others remember how to live. The collective is not one face. It is many souls, one rhythm, one healing, one sacred family finally remembering. We were never meant to rise alone. Receipts of the Scroll. The deeper lesson behind the soul family that finally found each other is not just spiritual poetry in a fancy robe. The receipts are clear. Human beings are built for connection. The Harvard Study of Adult Development, one of the longest-running studies on adult life, repeatedly points toward close relationships as central to health, happiness, and well-being. Apparently, the soul wanted community, not just another password reset and a chair full of laundry. Modern health research backs this up, too. The World Health Organization says social isolation and loneliness have serious effects on physical health, mental health, and lifespan, including links to depression, anxiety, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and early death. So when the scroll says the lonely lights became a constellation, that is not just pretty language. Isolation really does weigh on the body and spirit like a wet cloak from a dramatic medieval breakup. The U.S. Surgeon General's advisory also warned that lacking social connection is tied to poor health outcomes, including higher risk of premature death, anxiety, depression, dementia, heart disease, and stroke. Translation for the collective. Loneliness is not just being dramatic. It is the nervous system begging for safe witness, shared laughter, honest love, and maybe somebody bringing snacks without making it weird. Esoterically, the idea of soul family echoes old community wisdom found in philosophies like Ubuntu, where the individual is understood through relationship with the whole. Ubuntu ethics centers values like reciprocity, common good, human dignity, peaceful relations, and interconnectedness. That is ancient spiritual architecture. I am because we are, not I am because I won the argument in the group chat, despite humanity's tragic commitment to digital foolishness. The old wisdom keepers understood that belonging is not about sameness, it is about recognition. A real soul family does not demand that every person look alike, speak alike, heal alike, worship alike, move alike, or bloom on the same timeline. That would not be a family. That would be a spiritual copy machine with candles around it. True soul family is harmony. The elder brings memory. The child brings wonder. The disabled visionary brings perspective the able-bodied often overlook. The late bloomer brings patience. The wounded healer brings compassion. The joker brings oxygen when grief gets too comfortable in the room. Everyone carries a piece of the medicine. That is why division has always been used as a weapon. A scattered people become easier to confuse, but a connected people begin remembering faster. And when people finally gather in love, truth, laughter, food, music, and shared protection, something ancient wakes up. Not ego, not performance, remembrance. The collective becomes a living altar. Some of the souls who feel most alone are not unwanted. They are simply waiting for the right frequency to answer back. The lonely season can be painful, but it can also sharpen discernment. It teaches the soul what false belonging feels like, so when real belonging arrives, the spirit knows the difference. False belonging says, shrink so we can tolerate you. True soul family says, become more yourself. We have room. False belonging requires performance. True soul family allows repair. False belonging drains your nervous system. True soul family helps your body exhale. So the wisdom is this: do not beg every room to become home. Some rooms are lessons, some rooms are exits, some rooms are mirrors, and some rooms are just emotional storage units with people inside acting like furniture. But the sacred room, you will feel it. Your spirit will soften. Your laughter will return. Your gifts will not feel like burdens. Your story will not be treated like too much. That is soul family. Some of you asked the universe for soul family while still entertaining people who treated your spirit like free Wi-Fi. They only showed up when they needed something. They drained your battery. They never updated their emotional software, and somehow they still expected full access. Collective? No. Your heart is not a public charging station for spiritually irresponsible raccoons. Choose the people who pour back. Choose the people who clap when you rise. Choose the people who can laugh, cry, heal, tell the truth, and pass the plate without turning every gathering into a courtroom drama. Because the real soul family does not make you prove your light. They help you protect it.
Universal Current C Receipt, Architect Musician 3611027, The Graceful Whisperer, Devalan Ahll.
To start in your new stronger frequency of love and light collective, rise up gently today. Not like a dramatic rooster with spiritual Wi-Fi issues, but like a soul that finally remembered. I am not here to shrink, beg, chase, or emotionally babysit chaos in a glitter jacket. Today, step into your stronger frequency of love and light with your chest open, your spirit washed, your mind clear, and your nonsense detector fully charged. Because love does not mean letting everybody track mud through your temple, and light does not mean standing there smiling while darkness eats snacks on your couch. No. Love is power with compassion. Light is truth with warmth. Peace is not weakness. And boundaries are not attitude. They are spiritual security guards. So today, bless yourself before you bless everybody else into exhaustion. Drink water. Fix your crown. Stretch that sacred body. Laugh at something ridiculous. Tell your anxiety it is not the manager anymore. You are entering a higher frequency now. The old version of you may have tolerated confusion, disrespect, mixed signals, emotional circus clowns, and red flags doing cartwheels in broad daylight. But this version walks with wisdom. This version glows differently. This version says, my heart is open, but the gate has standards. And that collective is called evolution. Move forward today with love in your spirit, light in your eyes, peace in your body, and enough humor to survive humanity's daily group project of confusion. Shine bright. But please, do not hand your lantern to people who keep trying to set the map on fire.
To our beautiful collective, from our day ones to every new soul joining this journey, we love and appreciate you deeply. You've turned this space into so much more than a community. You've made it a family. Thank you, truly. Your presence, your energy, and even the smallest acts of kindness have the power to shift the compass for many in ways unseen but deeply felt. Here's to each of you, old, new, and the many more to come. We're just getting started, and we're so grateful you're here with us. With love and infinite appreciation from the collective of Shaman Ahll.
Message to close out the Scroll Collective before this scroll closes, remember this. A true soul family is not built by perfect people. It is built by brave people. People brave enough to show up with their scars and still offer warmth. People brave enough to laugh after grief tried to steal their voice. People brave enough to say, I do not have it all figured out, but I will not let you sit in the dark alone. That is legacy. Not just the name you leave behind, not just the work you create, not just the things you build. Legacy is the way your spirit teaches others how to feel safe, seen, and remembered. Some people leave behind fear. Some leave behind wounds. Some leave behind silence. But the healed ones, the compassionate ones, the soul family ones, they leave behind tables where others can finally breathe. They leave behind laughter in rooms that once carried sorrow. They leave behind courage in people who forgot they had any. They leave behind permission for others to stop shrinking. That is sacred inheritance. The old wisdom keepers knew that a person's greatest medicine is often born from the very place they had to heal. The lonely soul becomes the one who welcomes others. The rejected soul becomes the one who makes room. The wounded soul becomes careful with other people's hearts. The late bloomer becomes proof that timing does not cancel destiny. So never think your tenderness is small. A gentle word can interrupt generations of pain. A safe hug can remind someone they still belong on earth. A loyal friend can become the bridge between despair and hope. And yes, sometimes the most spiritual thing in the room is somebody saying, "Baby, sit down. Eat something." You are not fighting demons on an empty stomach. Ancient wisdom. Kitchen edition. As this scroll closes, let the collective carry this truth. We rise higher when we stop leaving each other behind. We heal deeper when we stop pretending strength means never needing anyone. We become legacy when our love gives others courage to become themselves. So protect your circle. Honor the ones who pour back. Make room for the misunderstood. Speak life into the tired. Laugh with the grieving. Feed hope where fear has been eating too well. Because one day, long after this moment has passed, someone may remember your kindness as the reason they kept going. And that, collective, is how a soul becomes eternal without needing a monument.
Until next time, your Sea Star Curacy, channeled by 3611027, the Beautiful Whisperer. Our Sea Star Devalan. Apply the news you can use.